Use the Force, Luke.
Live long and prosper.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Shut up and take my money.
I grab Thar's hammer. What a saving.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
X never, ever marks the spot.
Winter is coming. You're a wizard, Harry.
Stay a while and listen.
Hey, old Kermit the Frog here.
Bow ties are cool.
So say we all.
This is a Play on Nerds. Welcome to episode 220 of A Play on Nerds. I am one of your lovely co-hosts, Jarman.
And I am your lovelier co-host, Steve.
How dare you?
And if you didn't hear that, that was me throwing shade.
The shade
That's
has been
what
thrown.
the kids say.
The sun is gone. The shade has arrived. And this episode's super special because, oh my gosh, what are we bringing you but another episode of Nerd Roll of Fortune.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's right. Where we're going to play where we have an AI made a list of things for us to talk about in the nerdy subjects, and we're going to roll a dice to see what the hell we talk about. So we have no idea what's coming, folks. Neither do you. Isn't that exciting?
But I, for one, welcome our AI overlords.
Oh, we have to. We have no choice at this point. But Steve, before we get into that, what have you been up to since our last meeting, our last recording?
Oh, man. A few things. So we built and put in some raised flower beds.
That's right.
Like potting beds that we're going to put, let's see, we put in some sunchokes we planted.
Never heard of it.
They're a tuber. So they grow underground, but they're super low maintenance, and they're big in most other places of the world that are not North America. But we got them because they're supposed to be super easy.
That's always
stupendously easy. And we got some lettuce in and peas and a few other things already.
Oh, wow. So practical stuff.
So we got those put together. We got them loaded up with so much dirt. They're so heavy now. They live where they are now. Other things, I went and saw the Minecraft movie.
Okay. We
gave Mom a morning off, and I took Dilly and Joyce, and it was okay. It was not as painful as other things I have seen because of my children. That's the best. That is the best.
That's a great litmus
review
test
I can give any film now, really.
Do either of your kids play Minecraft? Were they aware of the references?
No. Joyce has asked, and it's one of those things where I never did, and so I just don't have any guidance to give her.
Right.
So it's hard for me to be like, yeah, play Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't know. It was after sort of my heyday in computer gaming.
Right.
And I just don't care enough. So I don't know. But Jack Black was okay. He clearly had a contract that included very little filming time.
On a green screen or something.
Almost all green screen. In many cases, he was in situations where he was clearly not with the remainder of the cast.
Wow.
Everything lived in these two shots where it was just him talking to the other group and then cut back to them and then back to him, but very few group shots.
What a cushy job.
But if you look at it, Jack Black, despite being the headliner, only got paid $3 million.
Okay.
Which is low, but that just is a testament to whatever contract he signed and how little he had to film.
That's funny.
I would bet that he had 3 weeks of principal photography.
Yeah. That's pretty good for a movie. $3 million.
Exactly. Like you say, $3 million for a big star like Jack Black. Yeah, but he only had to work this much. But the kid who played the main kid, the protagonist kid, only got paid $80,000.
Oh man, that's
I
just
know,
rough.
right?
Oh.
The main kid.
It's your big break, though. You're working for exposure, kid.
Yeah, you get to stand near Jack Black. He's not actually going to be on set, though.
You'll stand by him in the virtual world. Ooh.
You get to smell Jason Momoa. It's dried beer. That's what it is.
And no deodorant. A lot of coconut oil, I think.
So Minecraft movie. And then I get to celebrate my brother and his wife, Christian and Sarah's birthdays that are really close to each other.
Very nice.
So we went over and did cake and presents and that kind of stuff.
He'll just be forever 30 in my mind for some reason.
Yeah, that's right. No, he is 49 this year.
Yes. About the same age as my half brother Joe. Yeah, he's like 52 or something like that. Crazy. So
what have you been up to?
Well, I've had 2 books in a row now for audiobooks I've been recording that have killed me. Because believe it or not, there's only like 3 accents I'm just naturally good at. Everything else I have to just like work like hell to make sound passable. And I did a book where I think I mentioned in the last recording where I had to play a Romanian character the whole book. And that was rough. And I had to keep stopping and starting just to make it sound passable. I think I did a pretty good job. Listeners, it's going to be fine. Called Ophelia's Vampire, sexy vampire book. But then I did this book now I'm recording where a lot of one of the main characters is Scottish. And I've in the past had a Scottish character that was smaller, so it was passable. But this time it's like several chapters are from his perspective. And I'm just Scottish accent. Irish comes so natural to me for some reason. Scottish is so hard, even though my honeymoon there for 2 weeks and I was immersed in the culture and the people, but it's so difficult. And so I'm just like having to take twice as long recording his chapters than the other chapters. So it's been a challenge. I even had an accent coach I worked with several years ago on Scottish, and I've been watching that video again just to see what the hell's going on. But getting through it. It's going to be a great book. Ember's Claim. Everybody check it out. Shifters and werewolves and fake creatures and such.
Are they all having sex with each other?
Oh yeah, lots of sex.
Oh yeah.
But the cool thing of some good news is I have a book coming up, my first ever with Penguin Random House, which is one of the biggest audiobook producers in the world.
Yeah.
A company that's been amalgamized and been around since the beginning of book publishing in the United States and elsewhere. So it's kind of like a big deal, and I'm hoping this book does really well. It's called The Art of Vanishing. Written by a book talk influencer who's her first published book, and that's going to be doing very well. And it's actually about a painting that's written. Matisse does a painting of his son, and it's this guy in his 20s, good looking French man. He's trapped in this painting though, and he's alive somehow in this painting. So he's there for hundreds of years, and he starts to fall in love with this woman who works at the museum where the painting is hung. And she's able to go into the painting, and shenanigans ensue from there. And it's more of a straight up a romantic comedy and not like an erotic book that I normally do. So it's
there's sex stuff, right?
Like I don't think there is actually in this book, but I'm still I'm prepping it right now. I think it's more of just a straight up romantic comedy, more mainstream. It might have 1 or 2 like more steamy scenes, but more like a normal that you'd have on like a mainstream book for like a book of the month club and those kind of books that are out there. So this will be like one of my more mainstream books I've ever done. So I'm kind of excited about that. And yeah, I was just happy to get the audition. But yeah, look out for Art of Vanishing coming out probably June, I believe.
Art of Vanishing.
Yes. And then I had family in town. That's why I missed recording with Steve last week, because my sister and her husband and her kids and my stepbrother and his wife Katie and their kids, they all came into town at one time for their spring break with all their kids. And I hadn't seen some of them in a while. So it was a lot of family time, really good time. And so many cute kid moments. So, yeah, I'm feeling good. We got
spring break next week.
That yours is next
good
week.
times.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
You'll see more kids' movies. Yay. But, Steve, I think that brings us to some nerdy news.
It's time for Nerdy News.
All right. This week, my cheeky name for my cheeky story is, hey, you remember that time in the movie Jaws when Jaws roared?
No.
Do you remember that? All right. That's the title. Well, for the first time ever, sharks and some rays also as part of this study have been found actively producing sound, which is something that scientists up until this point never thought that any shark did. Researchers observed what are called rig sharks. And they're a shark that's used in studies a lot because even full grown, they can be handled by a single scientist. So because of that, they're very popular for these kind of studies. And through observations, they observed them making these loud, singular kind of clicking noises when they were handled, these suggesting that it's a potential form of communication or maybe even a defense mechanism. And this challenges this like long-standing held belief that sharks are these like silent predators and opens up new ideas that sharks may have a wider range of communications and maybe even a wider social life with other sharks than scientists have ever previously thought, because before this point they literally thought they didn't make any noise.
Yeah, like whales and dolphins obviously make noises, but like sharks, maybe it's like an echolocation thing too, like a click, and they can like hear things and feel it come back to them. Who knows? That's fascinating. It's scary.
So that is I remember that time in the Jaws movie when Jaws roared. You remember that?
Did that actually happen?
It did. If you watch Jaws, I think it's Jaws 3: The Revenge. There's at one point where Jaws pops out of the water and they like had to add a noise for dramatic effect. It's like roar. It's so fucking dumb.
Didn't we watch Jaws 3 for the rule of three at some point?
I think we did. Jaws 3 roar. I'm looking it up right now. Oh, Jaws 4. It's Jaws 4 when they're in the Caribbean.
Oh,
that's
gosh.
what it is.
Roar, I'm a shark.
That's so dumb.
I'm sure it was terrifying.
So yeah, that's nerdy news this week.
Very nice. Well, that brings us to our main segment, Nerd Roll
of Fortune.
All right, so we have a list of nerdy topics from 1 to 20, I believe. And then once we pick that topic, we roll a D10 to then choose what subtopic in that category we're going to talk about.
But first, we roll a D6 to see how many we're going to talk about.
That's right.
Let's see. 4 is the magic number this week. 4 topics.
Not too bad, but a little, faster, but not too bad. I'll go ahead and roll the first D20 to get our first main topic. And that is a 12, which takes us to video game reviews and recommendations. All right.
And I've got 9.
9, we have not done that one yet. Simulation games, kind of like The Sims, SimCity, and Roller Coaster Tycoon. All right. So I think we have some early, we played a lot of those growing up. At least I played a lot of SimCity for sure.
So the only one I can really remember, because what I did remember is real-time strategy, which is sort of in that same vein.
It feels like it, yeah.
Top-down management, but typically the type of games they're talking about don't have like combat sort of scenarios in them. The one I can remember you and I played was the movies.
Oh, God, yes.
Which I had for a long time, and then when I updated to the M version, the new chip version of Mac, my new computer, I no longer have access to play it because it doesn't convert.
Yeah,
so I own it, but I can't play the movies.
That is more like less like Edge of Empires, more like a simulation game because you're simulating a movie theaters or movie studio making movies. So it's definitely right in this category for sure.
But I do remember Age of Empires and Heroes of Might and Magic and like those, which are once again in that more real-time strategy vein.
Right. Did you play any SimCity?
I never had the patience. Like I have played it, but but not in like I play SimCity.
I played a lot of it where
a few times.
It was so difficult though. And because I was too young, I think, to be playing. I think it was meant for adult players at the time because you're literally trying to control a whole city and build roads and power lines. And then your streets start dilapidating. You have to like fix your streets. And you're right. It takes a lot of patience. And I was like, I don't want to do this. Whereas the movies game we played, you could actually see it happen in front of you and the movie would happen. And then you see how much money you're making. And it was
and then where you had to like put screenwriters together and they would make a script and And then you had to put it into casting, and you had to have actors, and you put them in roles, and then you had to decide on salary rates and shit.
And your screenwriters and actors get more experience, so they draw in more attention, or they make better quality movies over time. And
but because of that, then there's a maintenance aspect, and where they want better trailers, and one of them wants a basketball hoop and like that kind of shit. So you have to put up with your like actors' demands,
and they're bullshit. I played very little of The Sims. I don't know if you played much of that at all.
No, but I know people that have played it religiously.
Oh, my wife played a ton of it back in the day, apparently. And you can like make them have sex and have babies, and there's Simlish where they all speak that weird language, like and you have to keep them alive and buy them stuff, and then you can let them just die in the house and die of starvation or drown in their bathtub and things like that. So it was strange. But yeah, not a huge category for us. I think we didn't play a lot of those because there is a whole other category in this category for strategy games like Age of Empires, which we can talk about another time. But
and then there's also, I'm not sure if things like Stardew Valley and
maybe
Animal Crossing kind of fit into this category or not. I just don't know if they count as Sims.
They're not quite Sims, but like they're almost being. I was talking about this earlier off our recording about they're called like cozy games now. We're kind of just hanging out doing stuff. There's a mix there.
Because I guess you're playing as a character. You're not playing the world.
That's true. Yeah, you're not the over god or whatever. Of like I played Black and White, which is kind of like that. Where I
remember Black and White.
You're playing God basically, and you make a whole civilization, and you can throw people around with your big hand and stuff, and that was weird. Yeah, it mixes categories a little bit, but you roll the next D20, sir.
All right. 10.
That will be famous directors and their filmography.
Ooh, this has been a mixed bag for us in the past.
And that's a 6, which we have not done yet, which is Stanley Kubrick, visual aesthetics and philosophical films, and just, all of Stanley Kubrick business. So I guess the main movies of his that I've seen, 2001: Space Odyssey and The Shining. I never saw Eyes Wide Shut, didn't really care to. I don't know. What else? What other movies you can think of from him?
I mean, I'm literally looking at it. We got The Shining, Eyes Wide Shut, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, Full Metal Jacket, Doctor Strangelove, Lolita, Paths of Glory. Yeah, those are the ones.
A lot of his movies I've seen once and don't want to see them again because they're just real heavy. Like Clockwork Orange is real hard to watch. It's good. It's obviously well made, but man, that is dark and depressing and violent. And same with Full Metal Jacket. It's just, just depressing, heavy, bloody. So yeah, not really my favorite director because it's just too much.
Oh, he directed the 1960 Spartacus.
Ah, that's right. That's where he got like his start. And the writer of that film had to write under a pseudonym because they were on the communist blacklist. Interesting fact.
I mean, I've seen most of the movies on this list. I am one of the people that thinks that Kubrick is far overrated.
I can agree with that.
He had, while a visionary, he had major pacing issues in every one of his films to the point where they, in some cases, feel disjointed, or in the case of Full Metal Jacket, literally 2 separate movies.
Yeah, the first half, second half are totally different.
Clockwork Orange is similar-ish in that regard, but have major pacing issues.
Slow in general.
So, also, then you hear about the stories of how he treated his actors.
Terrible.
And people on his sets, and it makes me go, nah, I don't need to like Stanley Kubrick. I'm good.
Yeah, like I appreciate all the things you can look into, like The Shining, where so much detail is put into all the symbolism. Every shot was crafted. Like, sure, but eventually you can get tiresome. It's like
but he was a real dick to Shelley Duvall, so I think he can be done.
Yeah, because she seemed like a sweetheart. So screw him for that.
Sweet lady.
Absolutely. So we're not giving much of a time of the day. Sure, he added to the whole filmmaking history. People are inspired by the stuff he's done, but they'll hopefully take his stuff that's good and get rid of the crap that was not good and move from there. All right, D20. Here we go. Now we got my eyes are bad, a 6.
Oh God, that D10's gone.
It just disappeared. Roll away.
Nope. It's down. I'll roll the 100 to count the 10 counterpart that goes with it.
All right, we're at
10.
movie franchises. Recast them.
10.
Oh, that's the DC Extended Universe. That's a hot topic right now. That'll go well for clicks for this episode.
All right, DC. So, like the DC universe.
Yeah, let's
So
pretend that
recasting-
James Gunn is not just recasted already, and let's say we're going to start it anew. Who do you want to cast all the main people?
All right, Batman.
Yeah.
Are we looking at young Batman, prime Batman, or old Batman?
What do you want to
That sets
see?
the tone. I think we have better choices with old Batman.
That's true. A lot of more old style.
We just got Keaton, but I think a different old Batman could be real good.
That's true.
Let's see. Famous actors over 60.
I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan would be kind of perfect. You can even old him up a little bit, but he's already pretty old. He's in his 50s.
All right, what about decrepit Batman?
Who are you thinking? Michael
I don't
Caine.
know. I put up A-list male leads over the age of 60, and the first 4 are so old. Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson, Robert De Niro, Clint Eastwood.
Oh, Jesus. I'm picturing it. Al Pacino, I'm Batman.
The first actor that made it that made me say maybe is Harrison Ford. It's old Batman.
Bruce Wayne.
Ian McKellen. Get Ian McKellen.
Do you fear the dark? Wait, that was like Bane.
I fear the dog.
Hobbits, get away. It's dark outside.
Okay, Richard Gere. I think this is a feasible one.
That's
Richard
a feasible
Gere.
one. Yeah.
He's not grizzled though. That's my
He'd make a
issue.
good Bruce Wayne, but not a good Batman. That's always the problem. It's like they can do one or the other. The George Clooney was a great Bruce Wayne, not a great
Tommy
Batman.
Lee Jones.
He already played Two-Face. He can't do it.
I'm here to play Batman.
Now look here, I'm Batman. All right.
Harvey Keitel.
Terrible.
Harvey Keitel.
Go younger. Go younger. Oh my God.
Okay, I'm gonna actors in their 50s. Let's go.
That's why I think
little
Jeffrey
bit
Dean
younger.
Morgan is a really good choice. Like a middle-aged Batman.
What about Ethan Hawke?
He was actually up for it back in the Christian Bale days,
Back
I
when?
think. One of those times. He actually was up for it a little bit. He wouldn't be terrible.
Jeremy Renner.
No. I
I know he's not ideal since he's Hawkeye.
Now, he could be somebody else in the
Matthew
DCU.
McConaughey.
All right, I'm Batman. All right, all right.
I'm Batman, all right.
What about Superman?
Superman?
If we're going the 50s era, let's say people in their 50s to play all these characters.
Yeah, so like all the older, and then we have to pick a couple to be younger, though.
Yeah, I like that. 50s Superman. Now that could be Richard Gere. Put him in as a older Superman.
Oh yeah, Richard Gere's old Superman be good. I get on board with that.
There you go. The gray hair, really.
Guy Pearce.
Oh, he'd be a good
I think
Batman.
could do it.
Yeah. Or the Flash, one of those things.
Liv Schreiber
Oh, he'd be good as either. Yeah.
could be
I
a
like that.
Batman or a Superman.
What about a Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman. Okay, let's keep this one older, and then we'll do Flash and Cyborg and them young.
There you go. Wonder Woman.
Actresses. Should we pick 40s or 50s for her?
I think 50s. Let's keep it equal opportunity here.
Okay. Let's see.
I like that woman who's in a lot of the horror movies now. She was in Sin City. No, even better, Linda Cardellini.
Let's see who's that. Linda.
And she's also happens to be hot.
Yeah, she's already in the MCU, which is a little problematic, but that's okay. We can make it work.
How old is she? 49. Close. I was close.
Salma Hayek. No, this list is not getting better.
I think Spanish accent, Wonder Woman.
Diane Lane.
Diane Lane.
Though I think she's older than. I think she's.
Oh, she's in her 60s at least. Age. She's 60 years old.
She is exactly 60.
I think she was in the Wonder Woman movies, wasn't she? Maybe not.
I don't think so. Marissa Tomei.
I mean, I'd cast her as anything.
Mary Louise Parker, who I kind of forgot existed.
Yeah. There's a lot of good. Or just at this point, put what's her face back in the role from the TV show back in the 70s.
Linda Carter.
Linda Carter, yeah.
Okay, I'm with that. Get her in there with Harrison Ford.
We're making the worst DCU ever.
Okay, those are the old guys then.
Yes.
So now we got the new guys. So Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman.
True, he's there too.
Aquaman. What else is Jason Momoa doing? Just keep him in there.
As he gets
He's the
older.
only part that sold those goddamn movies.
Yeah, because he was perfectly cast.
Flash, I'm just going to say Timothée Chalamet because, that's what everyone's saying.
He doesn't seem problematic.
Cyborg.
I
don't know.
Could go. What's his face?
Because so many prominent American black actors are already in the MCU.
I know. That's the problem. Because I was going to say, you could bring a little comedic effect to it with the guy from Community. He was technically in a Spider-Man movie. What's his name?
We need someone with just a little bit of clout, but not too much.
Yeah. What's his name?
What was it?
From Community. Oh, Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah. There you go. He's young, too. He could be in it for a while.
Yeah, he's at the perfect age to pick it up and run with it for 7 to 8 years.
Speaking of Community, Joel McHale, he could be something in the DCEU.
Nah, I'm good.
You're good. So yeah, there's our terrible recasting of the DCEU.
Oh man! All right, do I owe you was that 3?
That was 3. Yep, we got one more left.
Okay, so do I owe you a D20?
Yes.
12.
Okay, 12 is. We already did that category this episode. That's like video game review.
We're gonna do it. I'll roll again. 7.
Okay, that's new. 7, TV animation. I will roll the D10.
Ooh.
That is a 10. So we're going with international animation. Delve into animated series from around the world discussing influential shows like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I think is American, actually. Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, and Sailor Moon. So that could be kind of like anime, basically.
Yeah, and we've already talked anime in our review. We don't watch a lot of anime.
I'm getting rid of that one. I'm going to roll again. And we're going to do number 9, which is stop motion animation. Things like Wallace and Gromit, Coraline, Kubo and the Two Strings, Chicken Run, or anything else we can think of along those categories.
Well, I think that what the hell is the name of the studio? Does everything.
Oh, stop motion stuff?
Yeah.
I don't think if I know a big one that does it.
Oh, there's one that does them all. Focus features, no.
Stop motion.
Leica.
Oh. I think I've heard of that, yeah.
Let me see. Leica.
Yep, Coraline and Paranorman.
There we go. Leica Studios. Yeah. I think Leica is sort of the head of the class for all that stuff. And it's not just because they're very good at the animation thing. They're so good at the animation thing. But all of their stories are surrounding stories for children that are better than they deserve to be.
Gotcha. Like kind of like
they latch
Pixar
on to
movies.
Smart things like Coraline, which was a great existing book, great property that they found a way to bring to life. Kubo and the Two Strings is crazy if you haven't
I've
seen
heard
it.
great things, but I haven't seen it.
It's a great story, but it's just visually kind of nuts to see all the things they did. There's a whole sequence where one of the big things is folding paper, and he does origami, and just watch origami fold and unfold itself in stop motion is like its
Must have
own
taken
fucking
forever.
enchanting thing. Yeah, its own enchanting thing to watch.
Yeah.
Box Trolls, which is like a great one. Missing Link, which doesn't get talked about enough.
Is that the Bigfoot one?
Yeah.
Nice.
So Leica, I think, is ahead of the class. But you've got classics like Wallace and Gromit,
Mm-hmm.
they mentioned, and then the title, which I remember, and it was cute.
It's a cute animation style and everything too. I think back to even like the what's the guy's name who did all the Harryhausen, who did all the old movies, stop motion animation.
Oh yeah, who did the force frame stuff?
Yeah, he was just in tons of things like that. From every movie had Ray Harryhausen doing all the things with the dinosaurs and the creatures mixed with real live action people. And then recently, God, I can't remember his name now, but there's a director who's been working on a stop motion animated movie for 20 years. And I watched it at the Enzion local indie theater here, and it was incredible. And now I'm forgetting his name. Crazy.
It's really dark though, right?
Yeah, very not for kids at all.
I can see it. I've seen frames of it.
Stop motion animated movie. It is Mad God by Phil Tippett. That's his name. So Phil Tippett was kind of like, I think he was partially trained by Harryhausen in his techniques. But he did all sorts of like crazy. I think Phil Tippett worked on Jurassic Park. He worked on lots of things like that too, and later on. But he worked on this movie for like 20 years, and I saw it, and it is disturbing as fuck. So yeah, you can do a lot with stop motion animation, not just kid stuff.
And I don't think we can get away from stop motion animation without talking about Nightmare Before Christmas.
Of course.
I think is probably the most popular ever, and probably the most one that's made the most money.
As far as stop motion animation, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then, of course, you cannot talk about stop motion animation without mentioning the godfather of all stop motion animation. Of course, that's Gumby.
Gumby. Hey, I watched Gumby as a kid. Loved it.
Right. And honestly, as funny as it sounds, Gumby became a household name for a reason. And because it was an animation style that was captivating, but allowed them to do things and tell stories in a way that nobody else could. Because it was clay and they could do these crazy things with it that computers couldn't do yet.
Yeah, and it would take just as long, if not longer, with actual regular animation. So it was more captivating because it was real. It's a real live object you can see on the screen, you know. Gumby's real.
Gumby's real in my heart.
But that is our wonderful nerd roll of fortune, which takes us to some radical recommends.
I recommend.
If you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up.
What do you recommend I do?
I recommend Pleasant.
Well, this week, my radical recommend is simple. Invest in a good rainproof jacket for your life. We all end up with these half-assed rain-resistant jackets that do okay, but after a while, they just start eating water, and you end up just soaked. Do yourself a favor, bite the bullet, save up a little bit, and buy yourself one good rainproof jacket.
What price we talking here around?
So the one that I bought ended up being about $160.
Okay.
But it's a nice Carhartt heavy duty rainproof, fully adjustable hood thing. The hood itself has a little like shelf thing that comes out and creates a nice like canopy for over your eyes. But like if you live in a rainy location, bite the bullet, spend a little money and get a decent waterproof jacket.
As they say, sometimes it's more expensive to buy cheap than it is to buy expensive, because you'll buy so many more jackets over time instead of just buying that one that's more expensive
With the quality of this, unless I do something real dumb, it should last me multiple years.
And I've always advocated, people like wonder why I don't ever carry an umbrella around with me when I'm going anywhere in Florida. And I'm like, because first of all, it always comes and goes so fast. But also, when it's raining, it comes from all directions in Florida. Like, so umbrella is useless.
Save you.
Umbrella does nothing. So it's like a rain jacket would be very nice. I should get a proper rain jacket. I don't have one, so I should.
Because when it's actually waterproof, you don't have to worry. You don't have to think about it. It doesn't matter if you walk in the rain.
I mean, your legs are going to get wet, but you know.
Well, mind you, Florida rain is heavy. So here, not really a problem, but in Florida, where when a drop hits, it splashes up like a puddle of water. Yeah, for you, it's a problem.
It's true. Just take your pants off when you get home. It's fine.
Yeah, that's why you put on the rain jacket, take off the pants, put them in a separate Publix bag, and you walk to wherever you're going with no pants
with no pants on.
In the rain.
In the rain. Oh, good recommendation. But I think that takes us to some trailer reviews. All right, this week we're going to talk about something we thought we'd already talked about because it came out a little while ago, and that's the Fantastic Four First Steps, the teaser trailer that arrived recently with a wonderful cast of a lot of people that you probably recognize. But yeah, this is basically not telling us too much about what the whole movie's about, but kind of introducing us to the Fantastic Four in some kind of alternate reality where it's kind of retro-futuristic 60s kind of feel. But there's still like futuristic stuff, but it feels 60s aesthetic, which is fascinating. And I'm wondering how it's going to incorporate itself later on. But yeah, so Steve, what do you think of this trailer?
It makes me hopeful that Marvel might be finally doing something. They've been floundering for 6 years now.
Yeah.
And then we had to put up with like falling in love with Jonathan Majors and then needing to fall out of love with Jonathan Majors.
Mm-hmm.
And so Marvel needs this to be a win.
Right.
And the fans need this to be a win. Because while there have been some really great entries in the television space, Loki, WandaVision, there have been some really bad entries in the television space. Falcon, Winter Soldier, Echo, to name a couple.
That Samuel Jackson one that that was terrible.
Too much. They've reined in. They're pulling back into their core. We've got a great entry from Daredevil Born Again. If you haven't watched it yet, it is great so far.
I'm catching up Jolie on the first Daredevil series first, and that's we're going to watch it.
Yeah. But great. And I think with this movie, they have a chance to like get things back on track.
Apparently, I've heard the first thing.
I do not have much hope for Thunderbolts, but
well, the funny thing is that the new Captain America movie came and went. I still haven't seen it yet, and it didn't do very well. Not the greatest reviews.
It was okay,
but apparently Thunderbolts' first reactions are very good, so that's hopeful. But I didn't have much interest in it, but apparently the reviews for it are very good so far.
So we'll see. But this just makes me hopeful that someone has a plan.
I do like that they're finally going a different direction with a lot of movies. They're seeing that we need to be more hopeful now with our movies and bright and colorful. And you'll see that the Superman movie coming out, it looks like it's finally going to be the Superman that's always been there, bright, happy, hopeful character. And the colors in this are very pastel and bright and fun. And the Fantastic Four has always been like a kind of nerdy family, you know? And the last Fantastic Four movie that came out, the Fan-4-Stick one, was all dark and gritty and modern and everything. And so this feels like a callback to what people really want. And especially this day and age, we want hopeful, bright, colorful, happy movies. So I hope that's what it is. And I'm curious how they incorporate them into the regular MCU, because apparently a lot of them are going to be in the next like Endgame type movie. So
yeah, well, I think that in the next movie, it's because we're getting into multiverse stuff. This is clearly some sort of alternate history.
Right.
You're right. Like the tech is wrong for the era that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that when we get whatever the Wars Between Worlds one is, I'm not sure what they're calling it, Secret Wars or whatever. I think that a lot of people's assumption before this point was that it was going to be told from like the MCU's perspective. Like the MCU ultimately had to be framed as the good guy in this multiverse war. I think this is going to be them putting characters on all sides that people care about.
Mm-hmm. The other universes,
making it so
stuff.
that so that there is not necessarily a winner and not everything can be clean.
Yeah.
But that ultimately these heroes from other universes, the ones that we like, will be the ones that join together and deal with whatever bigger thing.
Because there is Galactus in this trailer, and Silver Surfer is in this apparently. So people are very happy they're seeing a physical Galactus with the helmet and everything.
But yeah, I think they are putting characters that the audience will love and like in a different universe.
Yeah, it gets rid of
when
a lot of the
things
baggage.
There's going to be losers on both sides. It's not just the MCU or the good guys.
Yeah. Avengers Doomsday coming out down the line. Already filming.
And then we'll end up with characters out of place because of a destroyed universe. And that's how they're in the MCU. Just like that. Bam.
There you go. But I think it looks promising. Looks good. Good casting. Like there's Galactus, and maybe we'll see some Robert Downey Jr. as Doomsday at some like after credit sequence or something.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Dr. Doom. There we go.
Dr. Doom. Yeah, not Doomsday. That's DCU.
We were just talking about DCU. So
played by Al Pacino. Doomsday. Well, yeah, that brings us to the end, I think, doesn't it?
Well, what do you give the movie?
So this movie, I have one. You go first. I have one in my mind. I got to remember it.
Okay, so this one is Raul Julia comes home from a long day at work, puts on his slippers, drops his keys in the dish by the door, and he heads into the kitchen to get a cold beer because it's a Friday, and he only treats himself on Fridays. Mm-hmm. And he walks in, and there's just orange shit everywhere. There's just orange paint on every surface, smeared across the floor. Half of the dishes have it. And as his eyes pan across, there's Gary Busey, painted orange, wearing just blue underwear. And he goes, "Look, Raul, I was exposed to gamma radiation or whatever, and I got powers." Raul goes, "What are you talking about?" And Gary Busey has rigged the microwave to turn on while it's open.
Oh, no.
He goes over and he's like, "Lucky see," and he hits the +30 like 6 times, and he puts his head in there. And Raul just goes over, he unplugs the microwave, and says, "I'm going out for a beer."
I like it.
So that's what we're going to give this movie.
And it might actually give Gary Busey powers.
Yes.
So in a sequel to that event, this is my review. It's a few weeks later, and they've been living in this house for a while with this open microwave. And suddenly Gary Busey comes out in the morning, and he actually is a rock monster. And he's like, "I'm just so cold. Raul, I'm so cold. I'm just made out of rocks, and I'm not insulated. It's just like I'm absorbing I'm letting go of all my heat." And he's like, "Well, you're in luck, Gary. I've been given these fire powers." And he turns into the Human Torch, and they live their lives together, helping each other out. Well, he just warms the rock creature that is now Gary Busey and keeps him warm throughout the days and nights. Best friends
I thought
forever.
you were going for an M. Bison reference just for a moment there.
Which one?
"I got electric powers, Gary."
Yes. Is that what M. Bison has? I guess he does. Something like that.
Yeah, because in the end, he gets electrocuted or something.
Oh, yeah.
And then he zaps Guile. I don't know. It gets real confusing.
They kind of hand wave that stuff a little bit. That's fine.
Yeah, as you should.
All right. That's our trailer review. Makes total sense.
We did it. Join us next time, where in honor of Thunderbolts, which I just said I'm not, I don't have a lot of faith in, we're recognizing another group of gritty heroes called upon to save the day, which they begrudgingly do. We're talking, of course, about 1982 classic Megaforce.
Megaforce.
That's right. A movie I didn't know existed before today that we're going to bring to you next time here on A Play of Nerds. Join us all for all of that. What?
I said with the great Barry Bostwick, everybody.
Barry Bostwick, everybody. And one of the guys from the Warriors. All that and more. Come on back and be our nerdy audience. We will come on back and be your nerdy co-hosts. Thanks again, Internet.
Stay nerdy, my friends. Thanks for listening to A Play on Nerds. Feel free to email feedback at aplayonnerds.com with all your questions or comments.
Shoot us a message on Facebook or Twitter and earn yourself a sweet shout-out on the show.
Review us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts so even more nerds can find us. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, we aren't picky.
Check out our entire back catalog and other offerings at aplayonnerds.com.
And how?